All right, guys. Oh, here we go. So today what we're going to talk about is some measurement stuff. We're going to begin our measurement unit, and with that comes some basic background information. So what we're going to talk about specifically today is mass, volume, and density of solids. Okay? So mass, volume, and density, these are things that are physical properties of an object. Physical properties mean that it's a characteristic, that's what properties means, characteristic, that you can physically measure. Okay? Mass, specifically, is the amount of matter present in an object. Now this has to do with the amount of atoms that are found in it. Okay, so the more matter, the more atoms something has. The scale, like this one that you see here, is what we're going to use to measure mass. This is called a triple beam balance. We also have electronic scales that we can use. Volume is the amount of space something occupies, so how much space it takes up. Now if you have a regular solid, so like a box, like a cardboard box, whether it's an empty box or it has stuff in it, it still takes up the same amount of space. Okay? A regular box, a regular solid, you can calculate volume really easily with using the mathematical formula. And the formula is different based on what type of a solid you have. For example, if you have a ball or a sphere, you're going to use the formula 4/3 times pi times r cubed. R stands for radius, so you're going to cube that. Now, this is the one that we use quite a bit, and you're probably already familiar with. Volume of a rectangle or square is length times width times height. So you would measure the length, you would measure the width, and you would measure the height. A cylinder is a little bit different. You have pi r squared times the height. R is the radius. Now remember, radius is from the center point over. Diameter is the entire length or width of a circle. Radius is half of that. Okay? Volume, you can also measure it another way. So for example, if you have something that's not as easy to measure, like a rock, you can measure volume through something called fluid displacement or water displacement. So what you do is, I'll get to that in a second. So when you convert volumes between solids and liquids, or actually not converting, the unit that you use to measure a solid or a liquid for volume is different. Volume in liquid is measured in milliliters or liters. So like you buy a 2-liter bottle of pop. Okay? Volume of a solid is measured in centimeters cubed. This is kind of a clue as to how you find that information through like what measurement tool you use. Liquid, you're going to use a graduated cylinder, which is measured in liters. A solid, you're going to use your math. Okay, so that kind of is a clue there. Oh wait, I need to use my math for this one. Now, if you take that rock that we stuck in the water, that is not liquid, so I can't say a rock has a volume of 3 milliliters. However, the number that I'm going to get is going to make me think, oh, it's going to be milliliters. Nope. If it's a solid, it's going to be centimeters cubed. So here's how the water displacement thing works. You have a graduated cylinder of water that starts out right here. When I put my irregular shaped object in there, like this key, the water is going to go up, which if you think about it, if you've ever taken a bath, done dishes, gone into the pool, or whatever, the more people go in, the higher the water gets. Okay? Same thing right here. Now, just a little tidbit here. If we have this graduated cylinder right here, we're going to measure this at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, there are 5 tick marks between 4 and 5. Now, when I measure this, since there's 5 spaces and everything in metric system is based on 10, that's telling me that these are going to be 2/10, as in 0.2. So this water height right now is at 4.8 because I'm looking at this bottom line here. The meniscus is right here. So if I want to find out the volume of this little dinosaur here, my graduated cylinder starts at 4.8. I put dinosaur in the water. you'll notice that the water went up. It went up because dinosaur takes up space. The water had to move, okay? So we go from 4.8 up to 5.246 to 5.6. You take the difference between those two, and that's going to give you the volume of your dinosaur. Okay? Density. Density is how much mass per unit of volume. So what this means is how many atoms are shoved into a space. If you have an empty box, it's going to be less dense than a box that's full of stuff because there's less stuff in it. Another way to think of this is how much stuff is in that particular space. How we label density is gram, which is mass, per centimeters cubed. So how much mass is in a specific space. To find density, it's a simple math problem. It's mass divided by volume. Or this is the way you would write it out. Okay, now, so let's do some practice here. If a piece of wood has a mass of 900 grams and a volume of 1,000 centimeters cubed, what is the density of the wood? Now remember, to find density, it's mass divided by volume. So I look for what my mass is, divided by what the volume is, and my answer is going to be labeled as grams per centimeter cubed. Okay, here are some common densities of solid materials. Please pay attention to the water. Water has a density of 1. So anything that is less than 1 is going to float. Anything that is greater than 1 is going to sink in water only. Okay? So why do some things float and other things sink? For example, this particular video. Okay, these are just some review questions. The amount of matter in an object is the, tell me what you think. The amount of space occupied by an object is the, tell me what you think. What's the formula for density? An object with a mass of 500 grams and a volume of 100 centimeters cubed has a density of, and you would calculate this. I need you to answer these questions, okay? I would probably write this information down. All right, metric conversions. The metric system is based on 10. When I say based on 10, it's based on the number 10. So everything is in an increment of 10. So you'll need to write this down: kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centi, milli. And this little saying over here is the way that you can remember the order. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. The first letter of each word here matches with the first letter over here. Okay, so let's see how if you can figure this out. 2,347 milliliters equals how many liters? And 54 kilograms equals how many grams? Tell me what you think and do not Google.